Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are back here today on the Morning Slam podcast. YouTube.com, live here on YouTube every day between 8:30 a.m. Central to 10 a.m. Central. So if you're wondering how you find me here, either on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcast or Google Podcast, wherever you're finding me, I really do thank you for coming out and listening to me. Yeah, man, we got a lot of stuff going on here today. We did have AEW Dynamite last night on TBS. We have to talk about WrestleDream, the very first WrestleDream card, which is this Sunday on pay-per-view. A lot of wrestling this weekend because we also have NXT's No Mercy as well. So we have an injury update on Adam Cole, which could or could not be kayfabe, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on and talk to you about that. Of course, we're going to be reviewing Dynamite as well, which I thought was a serviceable show going into WrestleDream on Sunday. We got an Edge note as well, and what my thoughts about that is on him possibly most likely debuting at WrestleDream on Sunday. Some AEW ticket sales numbers from All In. We still got that. Becky Lynch talking about the WWE's women's division and pretty much not really the state of it, but on what could be done better with it. And one quote I actually agree with. We'll talk about that as well. And yes, and we have other news here as well that we'll cover. But before we begin here, you guys, if you're watching here on YouTube or listening, wherever you're at, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, leave a thumbs up, whatever it is, do that for me, follow me, do all that great stuff here. Follow me on X, which is formerly known as Twitter. That link's down below here in the YouTube video, and also on the other medias as well. Follow me on Instagram too as well. I want to go ahead and try to get those numbers up there as well, so that way I could do more on those social media platforms. Yeah, and also as well, as you guys know, this podcast is sponsored by Spinebuster Tees, spinebustertees.com. We have the fall sale up right now. You get extra 10% off if you spend $40 or more. You do get free shipping as well. Have over 20 designs on the website, fun designs. We have the Meltzer star ratings. We have the Vanilla Midget. We have the Pineapple Pizza Heel Heat t-shirt. We have the Weapons of Pro Wrestling. We have the Just Enjoy Wrestling t-shirt. We have a lot of great designs on there. Check it out. Spinebuster Tees and spinebustertees.com. All right, guys, so let's talk about Dynamite from last night. Overall, it was a safe show for what they did. Now, there's, to me, two major things that came out of this here, and we're going to talk about once we cross there. But it was a safe show overall. They're not really trying to have any injuries or have any bad situations prior to WrestleDream, and it looks like as of right now everything's good to go for WrestleDream, because you already got injuries. You already suffered one major injury last week, which we'll talk about in a little bit here as well. But it did start off with the AEW International Championship, Ray Figgs versus Jeff Jarrett. I'm back, baby. Karen, where is my guitar? Or even My World as well. I think My World's probably a little bit more important. I think it's, that's his definitive theme. My World. But Ray Figgs ends up defeating Jeff Jarrett here, and Jerry came out as challenger. I thought that was a very interesting choice, to say the least. I like Jeff Jarrett. I do. I like, like I said, I have my biases. I told you guys earlier this week I have my biases. Jeff Jarrett's one of my biases. Do I think he should be on TV every week? No. Do I think he should be going after the International Championship? No. Realistically, no. Not at all. He's way past that. But I ain't going to decline the Jeff Jarrett appearance. I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not going to, decline his. So if he's on TV, fuck it. I'm going to watch it. You know what I mean? So he is older now, obviously. He did look a little slow. He's going up against Ray Fiddick, too. Ray Fiddick is like 100 miles an hour. Jeff Jarrett is, barely getting to 50 at his age. But, but considering the deep roster AEW has, they could have went with somebody else possibly. But early on, Phoenix tweaked his knee, which gave Jarrett a few opportunities to try to steal the victory. But Phoenix barely escaped with the win. And it ended with shenanigans with Aubrey, the referee, and Karen Jarrett and Jay Lethal and Satnam Singh and everyone else that is out there, right? So, hey man, look, this is a very unfortunate situation. What happened with Jon Moxley last week, and no one was expecting Ray Figgs to even become champion. So they had to change their plans with this. So much so, I got a report up here, and we'll kind of, twinkle in some of the news stories here, that coming from bodyslam.net, this is exclusive, and also Fightful Select, but this is mainly bodyslam.net. So Jon Moxley was obviously supposed to wrestle at WrestleDream, and, and his opponent was supposed to be revealed last night. And apparently, from Fightful Select, they report earlier yesterday that the injury caused changes to be made to not only the match finish, but the immediate aftermath also. The report stated that Moxley was to be challenged to a match at WrestleDream by a non-name AEW wrestler, a non-AEW name. So bodyslam.net, the exclusive that they came out with, and I believe it's Cassie Haynes that works at bodyslam.net, so I don't know if he worked on this exclusive directly, but BuySlam.net spoke to sources about who Moxley's opponent was scheduled to be, and we're told that the original non-AEW name previously reported was none other than Filthy Tom Lawler. We have also been told that Moxley should be cleared for Sunday's show. The match will be back on. So apparently, as of this report, Moxley's gonna be at WrestleDream to face off against Filthy Tom Lawler. Hey, if that happens, I'm not gonna complain. I think Filthy Tom Lawler and Jon Moxley's dynamic goes very well with each other. You know what I mean? Filthy Tom Lawler, he does look filthy. He does look like he can, doesn't look like he showers for a very, very long time. But he also was a former UFC fighter too as well. So there's that. That's the most important thing. He was a former UFC fighter. Is Tom Lawler. So, it's like, so what kind of style he's going to bring to the table. He's going to try to choke you. He's going to try to punch you. He's going to try to make you bleed, bust open, all that stuff. And we know Jon Moxley, he wakes up in the morning, he brushes his teeth, takes a shower, you know what I'm saying, blazes himself in the mirror, the normal stuff that people do in the morning, right? So, this is my type of match I want to see. This is my type of wrestling. I know not everyone's cup of tea is Jon Moxley. I like Jon Moxley. I think he's an asset to AEW. I think he was an asset to WWE as well. And AEW is doing more of what he actually wants to do. He actually wants to do more of the hardcore stuff, the brawling stuff. He wants to bleed. Let him do it. You know what I mean? If you don't like Jon Moxley, hey, don't watch him. That's all I got to say. Don't watch him. But also as well, don't be surprised if he's, top 5 or top 10 or, top 15, top 20, in conversations for best wrestler due to the fact that he consistently always put on good matches. May not be your style, but, a lot of his matches are exciting to the normal fan at the end of the day. So, but Tom Lawler as well, kind of the same thing with Jon Moxley. So for people who may be hearing that, they may not probably are gonna skip this match entirely. Oh, they're compared to Jon Moxley, but 50 Tom Lawler, he's legitimate. He's a badass in the ring, and I think it should be an interesting match on Sunday to say the least. So, but yeah, Jon Moxley versus 50 Tom Lawler, according to BuySlam.net, is on for Sunday. All right, let's continue to move on here. We have Don Callis and Konosuke Takeshita interview in ring. Callis was interviewed by Renee Paquette. They introduced the newest member of the Don Callis family, which was Sammy Guevara. Callis then showed footage of him and Takeshita storming into Ibushi's dojo in Japan, which was hilarious because you gotta be such a hater of Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi to travel all the way to Japan just to beat up Kota Ibushi. That's some hating shit right there, and I love it. But actually, Takeshita is there, as I mentioned earlier this week, that there's going to be a DDT match between Chris Jericho and Takeshita in Japan. And, AEW is, well, hey, Ibushi's there too as well. Let's shoot a shoot. Let's shoot an angle. So that's what they did there. But Takeshita took out Ibushi with a kettlebell and had him knocked out in his ring. So that was that segment in Japan. Guevara, who didn't make the trip to Japan, came out with Takeshita and Callis, and he spoke about Chris Jericho consistently holding him back. Guevara here is, his promo, he's not a great promo. That I will say that. He's not a great promo whatsoever. He's very generic and boring, and sounds like he's kind of sleepy in a way with this promo itself. But it makes sense. The promo made sense. It was to the point. You know what I mean? So I get that. Totally understand it. It just didn't, it's just his delivery is not exciting to me. But, but he does yell a lot too. So it's it is what it is. But That was that segment there. Then we had a Ricky Starks, Wheeler Yuta pre-taped segment. Starks spoke about surviving Bryan Danielson and never been pinned or submitted by him. Wheeler Yuta confronted Starks and called him entitled. Yuta told Starks that he can't withstand what Yuta withstands with the Blackpool Combat Club. The challenge was made for WrestleDream for the two wrestlers, and we saw the match confirmed later in the show. Ricky Starks. I love Ricky Starks. Wheeler Yuta, I will say I'm more in towards of not liking his in-ring. Well, he's boring. He's boring. What he does in the ring, I like for the most part. It's okay. It's okay. It's not, breathtaking or anything like that, but it's okay. It's very hard for me for the most part, to not like you in the ring because I take in circumstances and all this thing, unless you're like a Dana Brooke. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, I never liked her in-ring stuff. I never liked her promo. I don't want to bury Dana Brooke right now, but I'm just making a point, you know what I mean? And have no ill will against Dana Brooke either, as a person, you know what I mean? But just her in-ring stuff, her overall character, I just didn't like. Wheeler Yuta, his character, don't like the character. He's very boring. And I will say this too. I will say that this pre-tape segment, he sounded better than he usually does. So I will give him credit for that. So he did sound a little bit better here than he normally does. But his in-ring stuff is okay. But the point I want to get to is that Ricky Starks should be waiting on Sunday. And I want to, we'll do the predictions here after a few things, after the show recap here. But Ricky Starks should be waiting on Sunday. If I am Tony Khan, I am strapping the pack to Ricky Starks. Period. You do not want this man to leave. You got two of his best friends now in WWE. His major best friend in Cody Rhodes and his other best friend, Jade Cargill. The dominoes are falling. If Tony Khan doesn't instantly push Ricky Starks, I'm not saying to win the world title immediately, but God, man, what about the International Championship? What about the TNT Championship? You know what I mean? He hasn't really had, hold on, give me 1 second. Had to sneeze there. But you know what? I'm a pro. I muted my mic. I went off camera. You guys couldn't see me. That was a 10 out of 10 sneeze reaction by me. It was great. I don't even have to edit that out on the audio version. I am that good. Man, I'm so good at this. Just kidding. But Ricky Starks should be winning this. Period. Strap the rocket pack to him now. If Ricky Starks loses, and we'll talk about this a little bit later as well, he's going to be good as gone. I don't know when his contract's up, but good as gone, because I think he recently re-sign with AEW? Danny recently re-signed with AEW? Let me see real quick. I should have looked this up. But I thought he recently re-signed with AEW. Maybe I'm imagining something with that. But I don't know. That'll be something I'll probably have to look up for another show. But anyway, so we're going to our next segment here. We have Brian Cage versus Claudio Castagnoli versus Nick Jackson. The winner of this match will become the number one contender for the International Championship and face off against Rey Fenix. Very good match. I thought this was a very good match overall. I mean, you can't, as far as in-ring stuff, all three men are good at what they do. Nick Jackson's great at what he does. Brian Cage, I don't think he's utilized as well as he should be here in AEW. And Claudio Castagnoli is one of the best wrestlers in the world, period. He's always has been. Ever since in WWE, he was one of the best wrestlers in the world, period. But early on, Castagnoli and Cage went for tat, strike for strike, which made some good exchanges. Jackson was the X factor in this match, as he provided something different compared to the other two wrestlers, which is true because Nick Jackson is a high flyer. So that the high flyer versus the powerhouses, that's a very good dynamic in wrestling matches. As WWE 2K23, when you're in GM mode, they tell you that they're always right. But anyway, the match was great. Jackson hit a great 450 splash. He always has a beautiful 450 splash. And Cage deadlifted Castagnoli into a big suplex. Castagnoli hit a Ricola bomb. Jackson came in with a springboard to take out Castagnoli and steal the victory by pinning Cage. Jackson, like I said, will be facing Rey Fénix next week. And that is going to be a match to see and to revel at and to, and like it's great. It's great. So, I'm very fond of different. Actually, Nick Jackson. I think it's gonna be Nick Jackson's only fifth singles match in AEW, and one of those was against Rey Fénix, which was that match there was great as well. Very fun, high flying action. I am more catered to cruiserweights. I love cruiserweights. I always loved cruiserweight style ever since. I was watching WCW back in the day in 1995 when I was watching Nitro. Even before that, we had Flying Brian Pillman, and Juice and Thunder Liger going up against each other too as well, in the early 90s. So I'm kind of biased towards cruiserweight style wrestling, especially how it's evolved over the years, and it just keeps getting better and better and better and better. There is this indie talent that you guys will be hearing about in the next few years. His name's Leon Slater. This guy is so athletic in what he does in the ring, and I won't be surprised if he's signed by AEW or WWE in the next year or so. But this guy could do a freaking Swanton 450. I am not kidding you. It is a Swanton 450. So he's doing a Jeff Hardy Swanton, and in midair, he flips himself into a 450. He continues rotation. It's very pretty to look at and very innovative. So, but moving on here, the Righteous segment. These guys were supposed to, I guess, but rumored they were supposed to go to the NXT Performance Center. And that didn't happen, right? I don't know if they were supposed to be part of Bray Wyatt's new faction, but they ended up in AEW and actually Ring of Honor, but technically AEW. And as of right now, they're trying to do this Wyatt gimmick, Wyatt family gimmick, I guess. So I don't know how to feel about it. I think I like the vignette that they did, but I just couldn't think of this is very Wyatt family-esque. So, but they did speak up about their up and coming match with Adam Cole and MJF for the Ring of Honor tag team titles at WrestleDream. The Righteous have been getting a big push recently for their cult-like characters. So, we'll talk more about the Righteous later. MJF and Adam Cole in-ring segment, and also MJF and Jay White promo segment. This is, if you're not going to watch anything on AEW from last week, or from last night, I should say, this is where you should be watching, right? And we also saw a MJF Adam Cole segment earlier, which I forgot to mention, which is not in these oh, no, I did. I skipped it, actually. Oh, no. So let me go back. Actually, I accidentally skipped it here. I had it in the notes here, but accidentally skipped it. Adam Cole and MJF, they had a segment prior to the Don Callis Takeshita segment. So Cole and MJF were seen hanging out on a boat in Long Island, and they had some back and forth about last week. About Adam Cole, coming out to help save MJF and getting her in the process. MJF was a little jealous of Cole's friendship with Roderick Strong. MJF even teased hitting Cole with the diamond ring. Cole was, they kind of, the way they shot it was good, really, very, very good. Where you can possibly see that possible foreshadowing. that Cole told MJF where he's like, "You didn't come out here to hit me with the diamond ring and dump me in the river or dump me in the water, are you?" And MJF's like, "No, of course not." So that was pretty funny there. It looked like MJF was about to whack Adam Cole. We're about to see a live murder on AEW TV, but it didn't happen. But Cole told MJF that it's healthy to have multiple friendships, a concept MJF is still new to. That right there, that line right there is very important, and I'll tell you why at the end of the show here. There was also a Paul White signing when MJF and Adam Cole thought that they caught a fish, but they actually caught Paul White, who was out there in a rubber duck, which is pretty funny. Ended up drinking beers to end that segment. So moving forward into the live in-ring segment, Adam Cole says, "Who wants to hear story time with Adam Cole, baby?" So he says, due to his ankle injury, Adam Cole will have to have surgery. And Cole announced that they will have to release the tag team titles. However, MJF says that wasn't an option. MJF says he's going to step up in a handicap match and defend the titles against the Righteous. Soon after, Roderick Strong ended up coming out interrupting. He was still in his hospital gown. From, I don't know if they were like in Boston. I don't remember where they were, like if it was like Boston or, Chicago. I don't know. But wherever the hospital he was in originally, I guess he wore that hospital gown coming out. And he was wheeled out by the Kingdom. And the back of Roddy Strong's wheelchair says Hot Roddy, where it looks like a hot rod font. But which is hilarious. But he did tell Cole that he needed him and that was an emergency. He said, "I need you. It's an emergency." So Cole left with Strong in the Kingdom. So we're going to talk about the ending, the ending segment later on. But remember that. I'm going to come back to that. Roderick Strong needs Adam Cole, and that's an emergency. And I'm going to tell you what that is, too, as well. Now, Britt Baker, if you haven't seen on Twitter X, Britt Baker shared that Adam Cole broke his ankle in 3 places in a freak accident. Right? If you look at these pictures, his foot looks like a zombie's foot. It looks awful. Bruised. It looks like it is ready to be rotting off his body. It looks terrible. It looks awful. Now, they show Adam's foot being wrapped up, and they show the x-rays as well. Now, I will say this. They possibly could be working us. I'm not saying that Adam's not hurt. He's definitely hurt. I'm not saying that he may have a broken ankle. His ankle is most likely definitely broken. But I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on and saying that the picture that they show of Adam Cole's foot bare with the bruising, the one that looks like a freaking zombie, I'm saying that is not his foot. Possibly. I'm not saying 100% for sure. That if it's really his real foot, it's like, holy shit. You know what I mean? But it's still a holy shit to whoever foot that is. I just don't, like, something's telling me that Britt's part of this work. Now, I mean, she's, if she's part of this work, then I don't know. I don't know. Maybe she probably didn't want to do it in storyline per se, but I don't know. Like, just a wrestling fan in me, the mark in me, is thinking that this is not Adam Cole's foot. It looks terrible. But also as well, that could be his real foot, but we don't know how long he's actually going to be out for. If he's going to have surgery, if this is 100% legit, then he'll be out for the rest of the year. But he may not be as hurt as some other people may think. He may not be as hurt as he's leading on to be. So that all comes ahead at what we saw at the end of the night. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure. It could be a work. But that's the great thing about it. And AEW is officially taking a bad situation because, they did show Adam Cole in the medical office, and it looks like he was really good. I don't think that any doctor, will take their time out of their day to wrap up someone's foot legitimately to do it as a work for a wrestling angle. So he's really hurt. I just don't know if he's as hurt as he's leaning on to be. If he is 100%, I wish Adam Cole a speedy recovery after his surgery, and yeah. So it's it sucks. It sucks. But if he's working us, then I'm not surprised. And that I told you so. But after that, we hear Switchblade Jay White. I love Jay White. I loved him ever since in New Japan. I loved him ever since he was being Okada. I loved him since he was being Naito. I loved him when he turned on Kenny Omega originally to take in, to be part of the Bullet Club originally. when Kenny Omega's like, I know what we need. Switchblade Jay White. And everyone knew that Jay White was going to turn eventually because that was his character. Just like, it was just obvious, like, that the now babyface-ish Bullet Club was going to bring in this fresh new heel from Excursion, Jay White. And Jay White hit the Blade Runner on him. Then eventually he ended up becoming the Bullet Club leader anyway, because he didn't want to be he didn't want to join Kenny Omega's Bullet Club. He wanted to do his own version of the Bullet Club. So that was a great storyline. If you ever go back and watch some New Japan stuff, that's one of the things to watch first as well. But Jay White comes out to the ring, and he did send his stablemates to the back, and they went back and forth on the mic. They didn't this website doesn't really have a lot of notes here for it. But MJF called Jay White, tofu, because if you strip away, the entrance, the cool gear, the being part of the Bullet Club, and your nice beard, you are tofu. And Jay White took, he was not taken aback by it, but he took that personally. It kind of seemed like, because he basically stated that, hey, we're the best two. We're one of the best two in the world. And basically, he made his claim towards the AEW championship. But what happened at the end of Dynamite, I'm not too sure. But MJF's great. Jay White's great. I cannot wait to see these guys actually go in a match against each other. That may happen soon. But after what happened last night, I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see. But like I said, if anything to watch back from the show, the MJF Adam Cole segment and the MJF Jay White segment. So, very good stuff. Christian Cage and a Darby Allin sit-down interview. This was an intense interview, and Darby is growing on me as far as a promo. He's not a Ric Flair. He's not a Rock. He's not a Stone Cold Steve Austin. He's not an MJF with his promo ability. But one thing I will say about Darby Allin's promo style is that he's just talking and he's just talking, and, everything is real to him. He's real to himself. He's being himself, which is one thing I can definitely appreciate in my pro wrestling. But Jim Ross sat down with Cage and Allen ahead of their TNT title match 2 out of 3 falls for WrestleDream on Sunday. Cage and Allen had a passion back and forth. Christian went after Allen's dead uncle. So dead fathers are not out of the equation anymore. If anyone's dead in your family, Christian Cage is gonna come after you. So that's pretty fantastic. So Allen vowed to win the TNT title in his hometown, something he has already done before. So basically, at one point, Christian was like, "You're hiding behind your paint," because obviously Darby always has half of his face painted. And Darby, he was like, "You think you want to hide behind my face paint?" And I was like, "What is he doing?" So he was reaching for a water ball. He was pouring water all over his face, trying to wipe it. He's like, "You think I want to hide behind this?" So that's the type of passion I like to see, even if he sounds bland delivering it, the fact of the matter is that he's being real about, he's being himself, I can appreciate. So, I can't wait to see what they do on Sunday in their match, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Orange Cassidy versus Penta versus Matt Jackson and Austin Gunn. You have a four-way dance, four-way match here. And basically, this match was good. It was good for what it was. It didn't overstay its welcome. I'll just say is Orange Cassidy gets the win. Hits. Matt Jackson was the orange punch to get the 1-2-3. But this fatal four-way tag on Sunday, we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But we'll go more in detail about that later. But Julia Hart versus Willow Nightingale. Julia Hart defeats Willow here. I like the story of Willow coming out. Usually she's the giddy one. She's the happy one coming out to the ring, clapping everyone, to her music. She didn't do that because Julia Hart, spit missing her eye. And, she had a gauze over her left eye. And, that's a bit of storytelling that I can appreciate. They're getting Julia Hart over with her miss because Malachi Black spit in Julia Hart's eye, and eventually Julia Hart became evil over it. Now, will Willow Nightingale become evil over it? I don't think so, because I think her happy gene is way too happy. It'll overcome her body again. So I think it's just going to have her more in a rage for now, which is cool. So, and also Julia Hart spit in Sky Blue's face last week as well. So, Julia Hart's getting that mist over. But yeah, Nightingale's one of the best in AEW right now as far as summer women on division. Julia Hart, I love her elevation. I love her story. I love her theme music too as well, because she's coming out with the House of Black, where it has like that death metal. She doesn't have that death metal at all. It's like, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain it. It's metal, I guess, but it's singing metal. I don't know if there's a genre for it, because I don't really listen to metal like that. Except for like very, very, radio stuff, pop metal, if that's a thing. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like your Three Doors Grace or Three Doors Down. Those are both bands too, I believe. You know what I mean? Like that mid 2000s, rock radio. That's the stuff. That's stuff I listen to because it's easy on the ears. You know what I mean? Even though I hated it back in the day. You know what I mean? And I was like, oh my god, well, who in the hell are the Foo Fighters? And now growing up, now I have a better palette of music. I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? Fuck yeah, I'll listen to Everlong. You know what I mean? But Julia, she's improved in the ring. She's definitely improved in the ring, and she has a beautiful moonsault. Because she was in cheerleading. Of course, if you're in cheerleading or if you're in gymnastics, you're gonna have a sweet ass moonsault in wrestling. That's just natural because you've been doing flips your whole life. But she's gotten better in the ring. I will say this: she doesn't have to do a lot, and that's what's so great about a character in wrestling. And a character like this, you don't have to do a lot. You don't. All you gotta do is use your character, do basic moves, and do some high-flying stuff every now and then if you're capable of it, and make it mean more. And Julia Hart is on a 26-match winning streak. She's going to be faced off against not Willow Nightingale. She faced off against Willow Nightingale last night. But she's going to be faced off against Chris Statlander on Sunday. We'll talk a little bit more about that as well. But the last person that she lost against in this streak for Julia Hart was Chris Statlander. So, there you go. But we're going to our main event segment, Swerve Strickland and the Hangman Adam Page contract signing. I will say this. I really am liking the feud with Swerve and Hangman. I will say this Hangman promo itself was kind of putting me to sleep. I saw other people out there that was saying, oh man, he one-upped Swerve. If that's your opinion, fine. I mean, I'm not going to, go against that. But what I will say is that it seems like to me, at least, it seems like to me Hangman has been saying the same stuff as of late. Like it's like oh man, I got this company on my back and this, that, and the other. So I don't know, but you know what I mean. I have no ill will against Hangman. I like Hangman Adam Page. I appreciate him. You know what I mean. There's some stuff that he could be better at. His in-ring stuff. I like his in-ring stuff. He's very sound in the ring. In what he does. So, he doesn't do anything too fancy. The Buckshot Larry is possibly the most fancy thing that he does. But, he's a very good professional wrestler that can put on a 5-star classic when needed. You know what I mean? So, but regardless of all that, he did mention he said that, because Swerve is, basically the storyline is that Swerve wants to take Hangman's spot if Hangman doesn't want that spot. And Swerve said, if you didn't have your spot, if you weren't given everything, I will be the first black world champion in AEW, which is true. Swerve doesn't have the makings of that. But Swerve pushed Page during this promo. Like I said, this I love, not I won't say I love, but I really like what they're doing in this program itself. But one guy wants another wrestling spot. He wants the top guy's spot. But, the back and forth between these two ended up with security, breaking the two up after Hangman smashes his hand, stabs his hand with the pin to break them up. And this should be one of the better matches on Sunday. But they did both end up signing the contracts here. It should be a very fun match. Swerve should win. We'll talk about that a little bit too as well. But we thought that was the end of Dynamite because they put up the graphic on the bottom. AEW Dynamite 2023, all rights reserved, right? You know what I mean? So Tony Khan pulled a Triple H. He's barring the Triple H shtick there, which is people are gonna say, "Oh, Tony Khan stole his stuff from WWE now." Okay, yes, I will agree, yes, but it's like whatever. It's like everyone steals from everyone in wrestling too at the same time. So, but anyway. This is the main thing I wanted to talk about. Jay White was attacked backstage after the show. There was 4 men wearing all black with a black hood on and covering over it. Can't see them, can't see their faces. So they're beating Jay White in all black. There was 4 men. And at the end, we saw a 5th man wearing the MJF devil mask. And that ended the segment. I will say this. That was fucking awesome. Great. Fantastic. That's how you end a show. Cliffhangers in wrestling is fantastic. It keeps people talking. It gets people to watch your show even more. And from what I saw on social media, it seems like for the most part that most people were very high on this segment. As am I. You know what I mean? As am I. But at the end of the day, what's the follow-up with this? Who's underneath these hoods? I'll tell you who. So there was 5 men. At last night, I thought there was 4 men originally, but no, there ended up being 5 men. And the fifth man is easy for me to determine. Mentioned earlier in the MJF Adam Cole segment, when Roderick Strong came out, Strong said that there's an emergency. Let's go to the back. He was there with the Kingdom. Adam Cole left with them. 4 men left. 5 men were backstage. The emergency is that Kyle O'Reilly is potentially back. Kyle O'Reilly is potentially part of this 4-man beatdown. And Adam Cole is gonna be the leader of this new faction. The new Kingdom, maybe. I don't know what they're gonna call it. But I think that they were going to reveal this earlier rather than later of Adam Cole being part of this group. But now we have a story where that Adam Cole's injured. Now, it could be this too as well. There's a number of, and this is what's so great about pro wrestling. Let me tell you guys something. This is what's so great about it. Adam Cole can really be injured. can really be injured and they can still reveal him as the guy later on. Now, this is the scenario that I like the least. The scenario that I like the least that I've came up with in my head is that they reveal all 4 members of Kyle O'Reilly, the Kingdom, Matt Taven, Mike Bennett, and Roderick Strong. Then the 5th member, the guys wearing double mask, is, underneath the hood for a while. If Adam Cole's really injured and he really needs surgery, he's not going to be back to the end of the year. Till the beginning of next year. That's at least 4 months. They cannot keep whoever's under the hood for 4 months. Unless they keep him off TV. They have him show up every now and then, right? And have somebody else under the mask. Because in wrestling history, if you guys remember, I believe it was Alexa Bliss had the Luchadores. Remember that on SmackDown at one time? And at first it was Deonna Purrazzo underneath that the Luchadores mask. They ended up being Mickie James, if you guys remember that. It's like 2016, 2017, around there. So it could be that with this guy under the Devil Hood, the MJF Devil Hood. So it could be somebody else underneath that. And eventually, later on, they review it as Adam Cole. I don't like that because it's going to make it too obvious at that point, right? They could put in a brand new leader. Who would that be? I don't know. Samoa Joe. Definitely did look like Samoa Joe underneath that, but who knows? They may be able to do that as well. Or it may not even be the Kingdom and Roderick Strong, and it may not even be them. It may be, and I'm trying to get all the names here right now of La Faction Ingobernables. It may be Roosh. It may be Dralistico. It may be Andrade. It may be number 10, and they may put in someone else in there. I don't know. But that is very far away. Or maybe Jose the Assistant, for all we know. Maybe he's getting hit on the beatdown. So that is a long shot. But again, if they are revealed as that faction, that'll be a letdown. I love Andrade. I think Roosh is a talent. I think Dralistico is great as well. But that'll be a letdown. That'll be a serious letdown if that were to happen. So it has to be the Kingdom. It has to be Roger Strong, Kyle O'Reilly, and it has to be Adam Cole. Now, the other option is that, as I mentioned earlier, they may be completely kayfabing this thing, right? And they may end up, having Adam Cole actually being revealed it, and he may still may be hurt, but probably not as hurt to what was expected. Now, another scenario, and you know what? Actually, I'll save that for the WrestleDream predictions here. But that was Dynamite, guys. Overall, it was a safe show. You had 2 major segments that's basically the same program. A great MJF, Jay White promo, and the backstage segment was the tip of the iceberg. I thought that was really good TV. So check those things out from Dynamite. The matches overall too as well. Nothing really was bad on the show. Julia Hart and Willow Nightingale, they even put on a serviceable match together. So I enjoy Dynamite. I give it about last time I was about like at a 7 out of 10. I'll probably say 7.5. 7.5 after kind of sleeping on it. I thought it was better than what I was expecting. So that was Dynamite, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move on to WrestleDream. WrestleDream, which will be in Seattle, Washington at the Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, Washington, as I mentioned here. As of right now, there's 10 matches on the card, maybe 11, with Jon Moxley versus Filthy Tom Lawler. They're going to go through with that match. And it seems to this show itself will possibly end up being, like, I'll say this, on paper, this show looks fantastic on paper. On paper, this show looks fantastic to me, personally. But that does not resemble the ticket sales. They have yet to sell out this show. And that's a telling thing in AEW right now. And that's one thing I will say negative about AEW right now is that in the States, they burned their markets. They were just in Seattle earlier this year, I believe in January. They're going back to Chicago again. I believe they've been to Chicago 5 or 6 times this year. They're going back to Chicago again for Thanksgiving Dynamite. They've been to Chicago once every 2 months, it seems like. Once every 2 months they're in Chicago. And that's not counting the Dynamites, the Rampages, the Collisions, the pay-per-views. Chicago is their base. They've been to Chicago more than they've been to Jacksonville. When's the last time they were in Daly's Place? When's the last time they were in Daly's Place? That is their home base. When's the last time they were in Daly's Place? I know they want to get out, away from Daly's Place due to the pandemic or whatnot, and everyone remembers it. But at this point, the pandemic shows, it's been over 2 years for the pandemic shows. I will love for them to utilize their own arena. And I actually as well, they will make more money doing that because they don't have to really pay rent because their own arena. So, but I think right now Daly's Place is being used for a lot of concerts right now. So that's possibly why they're not, going back to Jacksonville anytime soon. So regardless though, we have WrestleDream this Sunday live on pay-per-view. Should be a fun show. So we'll first start off. I'm gonna go from the bottom to the top. Yeah, I'm gonna go from the bottom to the top on this thing because of I think the first match is going to be the main event. We got Ricky Starks versus Wheeler Yuta singles match. Ricky Starks should win. I'm going to predict that he's gonna win. If Wheeler Yuta wins, say goodbye to Ricky Starks. I don't know when his contract's up. I tried looking up earlier. I thought he re-signed a contract with AEW or if he was in the works. I did see something about that a few months ago. And as of right now, it's not hitting with me on where I saw it. But I gotta find that again. I believe it was Ricky Starks though. But anyway, Ricky Starks should win. I'm gonna pick him to win. But Wheeler Yuta wins, man. Man, that's terrible. That's terrible. So we're going for Ricky Starks on that one to win the match. Next match, 4-way tag team match for a future AEW World Tag Team Championship. You got the Guns versus the Lucha Bros versus Orange Cassidy and Hook versus the Young Bucks. And I'm going to go with the Young Bucks to win. Tell you why. I think they want to do another match with them two in FTR. I think they want to get the the tag team titles back on the Young Bucks. I think that FTR is in a position right now in AEW where they are kind of in neutral due to CM Punk leaving. As I take a swig of water here live on the stream. You gotta stay hydrated, guys. You gotta stay hydrated during this. There's a lot of talking. But I think that they want to get the titles back on the Young Bucks. Now, if the Young Bucks win the AEW Tag Team Championship, it's whatever, right? It'll be their second reign. It'll be their second reign with the title, right? They only have one reign. FTR has 2 reigns. I think they want to have the Young Bucks have that second reign. But I like the Guns. I think the Guns improved tremendously. I just don't think they're going to win the titles. They're not going to put the titles on the Lucha Bros because that's 3 titles being clogged up there with the Lucha Bros, with Rey Fenix being the international champion. So that's not going to happen. Orange Cassidy and Hook, that is a makeshift tag team. They don't deserve to win the tag team titles. It really is the only reason just to get Orange Cassidy on the show with Hook. You know what I mean? Which is fine. But I will say the Young Bucks are going to win this here and that they're going to have their match against FTR. We'll cross that bridge when we get there if I really think that the Young Bucks are going to take the titles off of FTR or not. Chris Statlander versus Julia Hart for the TBS Championship. I would love to see something different and have Julia Hart have a run with the TBS Championship. but I don't think Tony Khan trusts Julia Hart as of yet with a title. And there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things with this Jade Cargill effect. I'll talk about that after I predict here. Jade Cargill lost the TBS championship to Chris Statlander. She lost the title to Chris Statlander. I don't know why I had to think about that, but yeah. She lost the title to Chris Statlander. They gave Jade Cargill this unbelievable win streak, right? As of right now, Chris Statlander is not doing anything much with the TBS title. They need to push Chris Statlander as, I won't say a monster, but someone who is a final boss for this title. They need to push Chris Statlander as such. Because if anything, they need to make sure that they try to replace Jade Cargill and try to make it seem that Chris Statlander is better than what she actually is. And I really like Chris Statlander too as well. But at the end of the day, they simply just need to push Chris Statlander as that. They're not doing that right now. But and what I mean by push, because she's already champion, they gotta make her a focal point on every show and have her go on a long undefeated streak like Jade Cargill as well. Because remember, this is the woman who took the title off of Jade for the woman who ended up going to WWE, Cargill. So they need to really do something with her. If not, I think it's a mistake. I think it's a mistake at the end of the day. Julia Hart, very glad that she's getting this opportunity here. But there's one caveat here that no one, I don't think, is brought up as of yet. I want to know the contract status of Shotty Lee Johnson. I want to know the contract status of Shotty Lee Johnson. I'm trying to see if I can. I don't know if he resigned with AEW recently. Let me see. I'm gonna look this up really quick. If not, we'll just move on. Okay. Yeah, I don't see anything here on his. Yeah. We'll cross that bridge another time. But I want to know the contract of Shotty Lee Johnson. The reason why is because he's part of the Nightmare Factory. He's dating Julia. I think are they engaged? I know they've been together, but I won't say they're engaged. Maybe they are. I think they are engaged. Yeah, they are engaged. They're engaged. So, if WWE can get Lee Johnson to come over to NXT, you don't think Julia Hart's coming with? Be on the lookout for that. And I'm saying this right now. If Shotty Lee Johnson ends up going to WWE because he was part of the Nightmare Factory, he's one of Cody's pupils, he's friends with Ricky Starks, it's a domino effect. This whole thing is a domino effect. Mark my words, and you'll come back to this podcast and be like, hey, well, Justin was right yet again. Mark my words. I'm telling you right now, if Lee Johnson's AEW contract comes up soon, I don't know for sure. I don't know. I'm not saying that his contract's coming up soon. I'm not breaking any stories here. I don't know. But I'm just speculating with the relationships that has been built in this with the Nightmare Factory and this little family. Also, not just Brock Anderson too. Arn Anderson's son. Brock Anderson's not being used in AEW, just like how Brian Pillman Jr. was. Where Brock Anderson goes to NXT, you get a tag team with Brock Anderson and Brian Pillman Jr. I'm not saying that's logical, but I'm just saying, that'd be pretty cool to see, I think. But I'm saying, guys, pay attention. And if WWE can get their hands on Julia Hart, that is a steal. And she's already improving the ring already. Imagine her in that NXT system getting even better. even better. Just imagine that. But Chris Statlander for his match is going to win. But, you know. So, we got Eddie Kingston versus Katsuyori Shibata for the Ring of Honor Championship and the Strong Openweight Championship. I really like Shibata. He's one of those guys from New Japan that I was introduced to long ago when I started watching New Japan. So, like the Shibatas, the Tetsuya Naitos, the Hiroshi Tanahashis, the Okadas. You know, Shibata is one of those guys that got me into New Japan Pro Wrestling. And the fact that he was basically almost dead, was told that he'll never wrestle again with a brain injury, is now back in wrestling. Not as good as he once was, because obviously he has to be, more careful in what he does. But it is good that he's getting his flowers here in AEW, that he's over here in America wrestling consistently. So, I'm not, even though Shibata's not good as he once was, I am, anytime when he's getting this opportunity, he's on TV or having a pay-per-view opportunity, I am not gonna say anything bad things about it, because this guy could have been dead. You know what I mean? Going up against Eddie Kingston, Eddie, he loves to have his matches with his Japanese legends. Eddie Kingston's gonna win. He's gonna win. Should be a fun match. You know what I mean? But Eddie Kingston, I will say this. I love his promo style. I love how he makes everything real. It's just, again, like his in-ring stuff to me sometimes is not the best. But he does bring it against these Japanese wrestlers. So it should be a good match. 2 out of 3 falls. Match for the AEW TNT Championship. Christian Cage versus Darby Allin. I got Christian Cage winning here. Luchasaurus may get involved for the finish here, but Christian is doing some of his very best work in AEW right now. Like, I think that when Christian's career is all said and done, a lot of people are going to remember his AEW run as a positive thing. So, Christian Cage for the win here. But the question is, do we see Adam Copeland come out during this match? Or do we see Adam? We're going to see Adam Copeland. I'm pretty damn sure that we're going to see Adam Copeland this Sunday at WrestleDream. As Tony Khan stated that, and Tony Khan hasn't made like a huge announcement in a while. But he did state that the face of, not the face of pro wrestling, but he says, era is ending and a new era is beginning. That's what he said. And I think one of those things in the new era is Adam Copeland coming in. This actually came from Dave Meltzer last night on the Wrestling Observer radio show. He says, I don't know that he's going there or not, Dave Meltzer. I just know that people in WWE, or at least of a few weeks ago, believed that he was going to AEW. Just like he said the same exact thing about Jade Cargill coming to WWE, and now she's here. Now, this is just Dave Meltzer's opinion. I'm not going to say, like, oh, this is what Dave Meltzer said. He said that he's going to, he's saying that WWE is saying that, Edge may be going to AEW. And there's been other sources out there as well. If we hear Alter Bridge on Sunday, no matter if you are a AEW fan or not, no matter if you're an Edge fan or not, that should be exciting to hear. I just hope that the WWE marks, the WWE stands, the WWE elitists can be happy that they get to see their favorites, one of their favorite wrestlers possibly, to continue his career. Because he could have retired. He could retire. And Edge's contract ends on Saturday, which is September the 30th. September 30th, this contract's over. He's able to go wherever he wants on October 1st. It's not a 90-day no-compete. He didn't get fired from his contract. He didn't get fired from his contract. His contract's ending. So since his contract's ending, he can go wherever he wants the very first day. And I think he's showing up at WrestleDream. Whether it's at the end of the main event, which could be a possibility, That could be a very good possibility. They may want to keep Edge away from Christian for a while. He may show up at the very end of the main event because the main event itself is going to have Bryan Danielson versus Zack Sabre Jr. We'll talk about that match in a little bit. But if they want to end it with a splash, end his pay-per-view with a splash, have everyone talking, Adam Copeland coming out at the very end of this show would be that. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But Christian Cage, I got Christian Cage over Darby Allin. We got Chris Jericho and the Golden Elite, Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi versus the Don Callis family of Konosuke Takeshita, the newly acquired Sammy Guevara. Sammy Guevara. Oh, yeah, he also has like this Scarface Titantron now. Looks pretty good. And Will Ospreay. I mean, this match should be fun. This match is going to be good. My God, you got Ospreay in here and Kenny Omega and, and Kota Ibushi. And, Kota Ibushi, he's taking it a little bit slower now because I know he's still like fucking hurt as shit. Takeshita and, Jericho, is going to rekindle the flame with Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay is going to rekindle the flame with Kenny Omega. Chris Jericho has beef with Sammy Guevara. Takeshita has beef with Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega. So all 6 here makes sense. It all makes sense. Like, there's all branching storylines from this. So it all makes sense at the end of the day. Now, who I think is going to win this match here? I am going to go with... I'm going to go with the baby faces. I think Jericho may end up pinning... Oh, I'm sorry. I think Kenny Omega may end up pinning Sammy Guevara. Right? No, I take that back. No. Wait, hold on. No, I think Chris Jericho may end, or Kota Ibushi may end up pinning Sammy Guevara or Takeshita. The reason why I'm going to babyfaces is because the story right now is that one of the stories in AEW, the long-term stories, is that Kenny Omega has not had success without Don Callis in his corner. He has not won a big singles match without Don Callis in his corner. I think that the babyface team is going to win, but I think there's still going to be some doubt on Kenny Omega's side. He's like, man, they didn't get the pinfall, this, that, and the other. So I think that either Kota Ibushi or Chris Jericho is going to end up getting the pinfall on maybe Sammy Guevara or Konosuke Takeshita. Will Ospreay ain't getting pinned. Well, we can forget about that right now. So, but regardless, though, it should be a dynamic 6-man tag team. That should be very fun. We got MJF versus the Righteous of Vincent and Dutch. 2-on-1 handicap match for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championship. I got MJF winning. And I'm going to tell you why. I think the devil, the guy in the devil mask, is going to come out there and distract the Righteous, and MJF is going to pick up the pinfall. He's going to escape. Call me crazy. I don't think, because if Adam Cole was there, they were not going to put the titles on the Righteous. Now, the only thing is that they're not doing anything else with the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship, but at the same time, there's no who's watching Ring of Honor too. But I'm going to go with MJF. I'm going to go with the devil coming out in the MJF mask to distract the Righteous to build more into that story that we saw on Wednesday. Call me crazy. FTR versus Aussie Open for the AEW Tag Team Championship. Aussie Open has a chance to win this match. I don't think it's 100% that FTR is going to win this match. Now, I am picking FTR as my prediction. I am. I'm just saying, don't be surprised if Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis pull this off. I'm just saying. Should be, if given time, this could be one of the best tag team matches of the year. Do I think it's going to be the best tag team match of the year? That's remaining to be seen. I don't think so. But FTR, like, they're one of the best tag teams of all time. I love them ever since NXT. I love them when they were known as the freaking Mechanics in NXT. So I always love this tag team because of their in-ring style. They take it back to 1980s tag team wrestling with their psychology. It's freaking fantastic. I'm going with FTR to win, to retain. Swerve Strickland versus Heyman and Page for nothing. It was just a one-on-one match. So you got Darby Allin. I got Darby Allin losing. He's from Seattle. Who else is from Seattle here? Bryan Danielson, but I don't think there's no one else from Seattle here that I missed. So, I want Swerve to win. He deserves to win. I want him to win. But this is a prediction. This is a preview. I think Hangman's going to end up winning this match. I think they want to. I think they just want Hangman to win. Like he hasn't really won any big singles matches in a long time. I don't want it to happen. If I'm wrong, I'll be happily wrong. Swerve deserves this. Swerve is someone that can go to the next level as a main eventer. Like 100%, 110%. Deservingly so. He deserves it. And his character work right now is fantastic. He's like a sociopath. It's amazing stuff what Swerve is doing right now. But I think they may give the match to Heyman and Page. Should be a very damn good match. I don't think these guys are capable of having a bad match against each other. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Main event: Bryan Danielson, Zack Sabre Jr. This is a dream match. This has been talked about for years. I think it will live up to the hype. Do I think it's going to be a 5-star classic? That has remained to be seen. I like Zack Sabre Jr. I don't think he is boring as far as promo skills. Some people may think he's boring in the ring, but that's usually the earlier stages in his matches. Like the stuff, it's kind of like Pete Dunne. When Pete Dunne's doing like the joint manipulation, things of that nature early in the match, then all of a sudden you're seeing Pete Dunne doing super kicks and X-plexes and moonsaults and things of that nature. That's a little bit of Zack Sabre Jr. as well. So, you're going to get, penalty kicks and, rough submission holds and, octopus stretches and all that stuff as well. And Bryan Danielson is going to, he's one of the best professional wrestlers of all time. So, this cannot be a bad match. Is it going to live up to the hype? I think so. But do I think it's going to be a 5-star? I'm not really there on that. But I hope that I'm proven wrong. But Zack Sabre, and actually the funny thing is that in my shop, I had somebody that came in last week who's a big New Japan guy. And I have these autographed 8x10s, and one of those was Zack Sabre Jr. He's like, "Hey, do you have any New Japan guys?" I was like, "Well, I had like former guys. Oh, I have a Cody here. Oh, I have a Hangman. I have like the Gaijins." And Zack Sabre Jr. is a Gaijin as well. But I was like, "Oh, I have Zack Sabre Jr." He's like, "Oh, you got Zack Sabre Jr.?" I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Oh, I'll take it." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like, you know what I mean? So that was pretty cool. But should be a fun match. We'll see what happens here. I think Edge may end up coming in the main event at the end, because I think that'll be a great way to end the show with Edge out there, his music playing. Just like what happened at All Out 2021 when you had Adam Cole, then you had Bryan Danielson come out. A Bryan Danielson, Adam Copeland stare down, take my money. Take my money. 2 former WWE guys who had to retire due to injury ends up, and I mean, they definitely did cross paths because, obviously they were in the WrestleMania main event with each other against Roman Reigns, but I don't know. I don't remember, at least. I can't remember a one-on-one match between those two. Maybe early on in Bryan Danielson's career in WWE, but I can't remember at this point in time. But anyway, WrestleDream, a tribute to Antonio Inoki. Yeah, that's the preview there. And let's talk about real quick some Tony Khan stuff. Tony Khan there's rumors out there right now that Tony Khan may end up buying New Japan Pro Wrestling. This show is called WrestleDream, which came out of nowhere, which is to make tribute to Antonio Inoki. You got New Japan wrestlers on this show. Yeah, several of them, actually. Shibata, Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr. Well, you got several on here. And I know we're going to have a pre-show, a couple pre-show matches as well. Tony Khan stated that this is the end of an era, start of a new era. That could be a lot of things. That could be a combination of things. That could be Adam Copeland coming in. That could be Max. You know what I mean? Finally, the streaming deal on Max. That is supposed to be announced imminently, from what I've heard. And also on top of that, perhaps the biggest thing is that New Japan Pro Wrestling possibly can be bought out by Tony Khan. That's a possibility. And there's happened to be leaks. I'm not too sure if these leaks are true, but Sean Ross Sapp asked Tony Khan during the WrestleDream media call about the rumors that he bought New Japan Pro Wrestling. Now, Tony Khan says he isn't sure where those rumors came from, especially the transitional nature of them. He's happy with their partnership and wants to continue that, and is glad they have people talking ahead of WrestleDream. Of course, you're gonna say that. Of course, you're not gonna let the cat out of the bag on the media calls. Oh yeah, I bought them. Oh yeah, I'm in plans of buying them. But Tony Khan has been very, very straightforward and honest in the past, but he wasn't very straightforward and honest about Ring of Honor back in the day either. So I don't know if he ends up buying New Japan. I don't agree with it, just because he's already wearing too many hats. He could barely get Ring of Honor correct. Now he's gonna have New Japan. I don't agree with it, but hey man, if he wants to do it, he wants to put more money into New Japan. He's a pro wrestling guy. That he loves Japanese wrestling. God bless him. Let him do it. I just don't agree with it as to the extent of the overall product. And they stretch themselves out too much. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that. But if we hear that Tony Khan is buying New Japan Pro Wrestling, that could be another thing for CM Punk as well. Because CM Punk won't have anywhere to go other than Impact or WWE. Because there was a possibility that CM Punk could have possibly go to New Japan as well. So maybe he's doing this. Maybe he's doing this to spite Punk. He's like, I don't want CM Punk to stifle my New Japan, and obviously as well because New Japan and AEW has a great working relationship with each other. So having CM Punk over there is gonna stifle that relationship a little bit. So now I know New Japan loves working with AEW. So I don't know. But let me know what you guys' thoughts about that. We got about 15 minutes left here in the show. We're going to go through these news stories very quickly here, and we're calling it a show here on Thursday. Coming from a lot of websites here. Remember AEW All In? Remember the attendance record? You know what I mean? The paid attendance record being at 81,000. Remember that? Well, this is coming from a local London council says that AEW's attendance was 85,528. So, from Brandon Thurston, and I'll read some of this here from Brandon Thurston at WrestleNomics. He's one of those guys that's very analytical. So, let's go over this real quick. This is straight from his tweet. It says, an all-in attendance terminology explainer. First, for any live event, there is no straightforward measurement we can merely call attendance. Tickets distributed is the 85,258. Probably local government gave this number that I believe that is the tickets distributed, right? That's not including paid tickets. Those are comp tickets as well, most likely. Tickets sold 81,035. That is per AEW. Per AEW. And tickets used, and also as well, I mean, the per AEW is also you can clearly go on WrestleTix and see the tickets that got sold as well. So you can see the tickets that clearly got sold. Tickets used is 72,265. That is per the local government. So at the end of the day, I'm not going to touch on this much longer, but at the end of the day, wherever the number is, it is great for professional wrestling. It's great for AEW. It's great that they got over at least 70,000 people in that building, in that stadium. But I have to talk about it because it's in the news. I have to talk about it because, this is the thing called legitimacy in our professional wrestling. And also on top of that as well, people want to know if they were part of a record or not. That matters to them. It matters to those people that win. It matters to those people that win in Wembley. Not to everybody, but some people want to be part of that type of thing too as well. So, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter to me. The reason why I'm bringing it up at the end of the day is because it is a very controversial stance. There are some people out there that don't want AEW to have the record, which I don't understand why. Because they're so gatekeeped in their other parts of pro wrestling, like WWE, for example, right? At the end of the day, the pro wrestling business is thriving, and that's all that matters. So, but we'll move on from here, and we'll move on to Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch, who is currently the NXT Women's Champion, which I don't agree with, but she did say something here that I 100% agree with 1,000 times over. She spoke to this. She gave a quote on the New York Post, and she says, she was saying the sentiment of the women's wrestling division in WWE. She says, "I need people to come up. I need people to be on this level. But if nobody's getting any TV time, if nobody's getting any story time, then they can't rise up. Nobody knows who the hell they are. It's hard to gain momentum if you don't get no TV time. It's hard to get TV time if there's nothing to fight for." I fucking agree. 100% agree. I've been saying this for months and months and months. Why are they not using women like Tegan Knox? Why are they not using women like Indy Hartwell and Xia Li and Candice LeRae and Emma before she got let go? You got these women on the roster, but you're not utilizing them. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Then me personally, I won't complain about it. And she lists off women who she believes that has potential and deserve to be elevated. She named Andy Hartwell, Candice LeRae, Zoe Stark, Xia Li. Give these women a shot. That way these divisions will actually be divisions. That way, these women's tag team titles can actually have a little bit more depth. But we don't have that right now. So, but yeah, Becky Lynch speaking out about that. Totally agree with her on that. The women needs, there's more women that need to be utilized. How can you get over? How can you get a connection to the casual audience if you're not being used? That's the same thing for the men's division. I'm finally glad that they're using Tommaso Ciampa and Bronson Reed because those guys deserve it. Those guys deserve an opportunity. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Then as fans, we cannot say, okay, they were not given a full opportunity when at this point Tommaso Ciampa is going to have a match against Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship, and once Ciampa passes with flying colors in that match, then people are going to be like, oh man, Ciampa is really good. Oh man, Ciampa, man, why was he on TV? When he should have been in the first place. So I'm happy that Becky Lynch spoke out on that. Even though I don't agree with her booking and that she needs the title all the time. But she spoke out about that, and, I fully agree with that. This is indirectly Jade Cargill-ish news, but this is just tribalism in pro wrestling. And I love to talk about this just because of there are the fake fans out there who like to cheer against, AEW. They want AEW to fail. There's the AEW fans that want WWE to fail. Oh, I hope Vince McMahon, never comes back. Oh, I hope Triple H gets fired and all that stuff. I just hate tribalism in pro wrestling. It's worse than, to me, it's like worse than Star Wars. It's worse than any media out there, in my opinion, like I never see anything like pro wrestling, like sports. It's crazy. But Kenny Omega, and I'm a very big Kenny Omega fan. I mean, there's some things about him like I could deal without, but like out of everyone in the elite, I'm definitely a Kenny Omega guy for sure. He said that he said this on Twitter yesterday. Said this on X yesterday, that this may be news to a lot of fans out there, but when one wrestler goes from one company to another, we tend to always wish them the best and cheer for them while they embark on their new journey genuinely. It's embarrassing and shameful that some fans aren't capable of the same. Again, I always like Jade Cargill, her coming over. I just think her biggest thing right now is maybe a little bit more mic work, and for her to definitely get better in the ring. I'm saying that as a place out of love. I want her to be successful in WWE. The fact that Kenny Omega is saying this just, it just makes me like this guy even more. You know what I mean? Because he loves professional wrestling, and he doesn't see, and like if you've seen the interaction between him and Sasha Banks the first time they met each other on Sasha Banks' blog, like man, like he just accepted her with welcome arms, and you know what I mean, into a New Japan locker room. So at Wrestle Kingdom, so it's cool. We need pro wrestlers out there to bring us together more than separate with tribalism at the end of the day. So hopefully more wrestlers are out there. They can definitely do that. So good quote from Kenny Omega. Cody Rhodes is in a new anime. He's in a new anime. It's from Ubisoft, and they have some Ubisoft characters in there. So I believe they have like was it Raymond? God, what was that? God, man, I should know this game. Raymond? It's not Rain Man, but oh Jesus. God, okay, I forget. I forget. I forget the name of the video game, but it's like I forget the name. But anyway, but you also have I think it's it's not from Ubisoft. I was gonna say Bionic Commando. Bionic Commando is Capcom, but regardless though, Cody Rhodes is in a new anime from Ubisoft. And I think it's only going to be a cameo, but I'll just tell you this: the anime is called Captain Laserhawk and a Blood Dragon Remix. Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon Remix, which is going to be on Netflix starting on October 19th. Cody Rhodes is in this series, but I believe it's as a cameo. So, and Cody Rhodes was he made a comment on Twitter as well. So if you want to see the trailer, it's in there. But it's good that the Cody, I don't even think it's voiced by Cody, but Cody is in there because you can clearly see him in attire, and it is Cody Rhodes. He has the dream tattoo on his chest, so it's definitely Cody Rhodes. So and obviously Cody acknowledged it as well. So I don't know if this was if the green light was for this before he moved to WWE, but Cody getting a little royalty check there. Good for him. And last but not least here, it's news obviously, but like I probably should have put this earlier just because of it's not good news. I don't want to end on it's not a somber note, but but Liv Morgan, a little update on her. She says that she's out injured right now. She was speaking to Muscle and Health, and she says, I'm actually out injured right now. And aside from healing up, my focus has been on my nutrition. So it's been really exciting honing in on that. I want to come back in the very best shape of my life. And a lot of times when these wrestlers get injured, they transform their bodies. So it'll be very interesting to see on how Liv Morgan's looking to come back. Wishing Liv in her speedy recovery. And also on top of that as well, it's kind of obvious that she was injured too as well. You know what I mean? It's kind of obvious that she was injured too as well, because of the whole situation with her and Raquel getting injured at the same time, and there was There was rumor that Raquel was injured. She was injured for a little bit. Then also with Liv Morgan being injured. So it's been out for weeks that Liv was injured of some sort. But it's good to see that she's actually confirming it. And, sounds like it's not super serious because she said that she's looking to heal up. And hopefully she's back soon. Hopefully she's back by Rumble season. I'll have to wait and see. So. But that is it, guys. That is Saturday. Jesus, I'm wishing it's Saturday already. That is Thursday's podcast here. And I thank you so much for you guys coming out and watching me here live on YouTube. I very much so appreciate it. Always turn on those notification bells so you know when I go live here. If you're new around here, hopefully I did enough to gain a subscription here from you guys. Also, follow me on Twitter, X. Link down below, and also as well follow me on Instagram too as well. As soon as I'm done here, I will begin the podcast up live on the audio version of the podcast will be up live. So also lastly, check out Spinebuster Tees, spinebustertees.com. If you're coming in late, if you're seeing late, we got the fall sale going on, extra 10% off. Use fall tint at checkout. All the shirts are designed by yours truly here. So yeah, this is my business. These are my t-shirts. And also on top of that as well, if you spend over $40, you get free shipping as well. Spinebuster Tees and spinebustertees.com. And just remember one thing, guys. I gotta do this outro more. I gotta do this outro more. I want to make this the same. And also it's because it's one of my t-shirts as well. At the end of the day, guys, it is pro wrestling. Just enjoy it. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another edition of the Morning 7 podcast. See you guys later. Peace.